inescapable phenomenon. It shapes our lives, our universe, and our very perception of reality. It's the invisible river upon which existence flows. Yet, despite its omnipresence, time remains one of the most elusive and debated concepts in science. Today, I want to embark on an exploration of time's fundamental nature, dissecting its past, present, and future through the lens of physics, neuroscience, and philosophy. So, first off, let's consider the past. At first glance, the past appears concrete. It's the record of events that have already transpired, stored in memory, etched into the fabric of the universe through causality. In classical physics, the past is unchangeable. It's happened and there's nothing we can do to alter it. Sir Isaac Newton's deterministic universe assumed that if one had perfect knowledge of all forces and conditions at any given moment, one could, in theory, calculate the entire history and future of the cosmos. This classical view sees time as a linear progression, a fixed chronology that moves forward, never to return. However, modern physics challenges this notion. Einstein's theory of relativity radically altered our understanding of time by revealing its intimate relationship with space. Space and time, rather than being distinct, are woven together into a four-dimensional continuum known as space-time. According to relativity, time doesn't flow at a universal rate. Instead, it's relative to the observer. A person moving at near light speeds will experience time more slowly compared to someone at rest, a phenomenon known as time dilation, which I've covered on the channel before. Now, in this view, past and future coexist as part of the space-time fabric, and time is simply a coordinate, not an evolving entity. This has led some physicists to propose a block universe model in which all moments, past, present, and future, exist simultaneously, with our experience of time being nothing more than a subjective traversal through this unchanging structure. Now, despite this, our experience of time feels profoundly real. We remember the past, but not the future. This asymmetry is rooted in the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy, or the measure of disorder, always increases in a closed system. The past is lower in entropy than the present, and the future will be higher. This arrow of time provides a directionality to our experience, making time appear to flow from order to disorder, and from what was to what's yet to come. Now we arrive at the concept of the present. What is now? At first it seems obvious. The present is this very moment, the fleeting instance in which we exist. And yet, defining the present scientifically is pretty difficult. In relativity, simultaneity is relative. Two events that appear to happen at the same time for one observer may not be simultaneous for another moving observer. This means there is no universal now shared across the cosmos. Furthermore, Neuroscience tells us that our perception of the present is a construction of the brain. It takes time for sensory information to reach our consciousness, meaning that the now we perceive is actually a slightly delayed reconstruction of reality. Studies suggest that the brain integrates sensory inputs over a short window of time, about 100 to 200 milliseconds, before forming a conscious experience. This means that what we call the present is not an instant, but a smeared out moment in which our brains stitch together past stimuli into a cohesive experience. Even at the quantum level, time becomes enigmatic. Quantum mechanics suggests that particles exist in superpositions of states until they're observed, at which point they collapse into a definite state. This raises deep questions about whether time is fundamental or if it emerges from deeper quantum processes. Some physicists propose that time itself may be an illusion, a byproduct of entanglement and quantum information processing. So, we stand at the threshold of the future, the domain of uncertainty. The future is the one aspect of time that seems open, undetermined, waiting to be shaped by our choices and the unfolding laws of physics. Yet, if the block universe model holds true, does the future already exist just as the past does? If so, are we merely following a predetermined path, unaware of the inevitability of events? As we move forward, we need to reconcile these scientific perspectives with our lived experience. What does it mean to make a decision? Can we truly influence what is to come? Or is our sense of agency a product of the brain's need to rationalize the passage of time? So, these questions bring us to the next stage of the discussion: the nature of the future and its implications for free will, causality, and the fate of the universe itself. So, turning our gaze to the horizon, we look at the future, the great unknown. If the past is recorded and the present is fleeting, then the future is the domain of uncertainty, a space filled with infinite possibilities yet to be realized. But what do we truly know about the future? Can we predict it with certainty, or is it shaped by randomness, choice, and hidden mechanisms of the cosmos? Science provides us with two conflicting perspectives. On one hand, the deterministic view of the universe, rooted in Newtonian mechanics and extended through Einstein's relativity, suggests that the future is already written. Again, if we knew the exact position and velocity of every particle in the universe, we could, as I mentioned, in principle at least, calculate all future events with perfect accuracy. This was the dream of Pierre-Simon Laplace, who imagined a hypothetical Laplace's demon, an entity with such knowledge that it could see the entire timeline of the universe unfold, past and future alike, as a single immutable sequence of events. But the universe, as we've come to understand it, doesn't operate with such mechanical precision. shattered the notion of strict determinism. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle states that we can't simultaneously know both the position and momentum of a particle with absolute precision. The more accurately we measure one, the less precisely we can determine the other. This introduces a fundamental limit to predictability. At the atomic and subatomic levels, events aren't deterministic but probabilistic. Outcomes are governed by probability distributions rather than definite causality. This raises a profound question. If the microscopic world is governed by chance, does that uncertainty propagate upward to the macroscopic world? In most cases, classical laws of physics dominate at larger scales, smoothing out quantum randomness. But there are instances where quantum effects can or do have macroscopic consequences. Consider Schrodinger's cat, a thought experiment illustrating how a quantum system can exist in multiple states until measured. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics, such as the many worlds interpretation, suggest that every possible future does exist in some parallel reality, with our experience merely being one unfolding branch among countless others. Yet, despite quantum uncertainty, our ability to predict the future has grown remarkably precise in many areas. We can forecast planetary orbits centuries ahead, anticipate eclipses with pinpoint accuracy, and predict weather patterns with increasing reliability. The field of chaos theory, however, teaches us that even in deterministic systems, small changes in initial conditions can lead to wildly different outcomes. This is the essence of the butterfly effect, where the flap of a butterfly's wings can, at least in principle, alter the course of a hurricane weeks later. The interplay between determinism and chaos raises another issue: the nature of free will. If the future is already written in the fabric of space-time, as relativity might suggest, then do we have any true agency in shaping what's to come? Is choice merely an illusion, a byproduct of a complex but predetermined neurological process? Neuroscientific studies suggest that decisions may be initiated in the brain before we become consciously aware of them, hinting at a mechanistic undercurrent to our thoughts. And yet, our lived experience insists that we are active participants in the unfolding of events, that we make choices and shape our own futures. Could it be that the reality of free will emerges from complexity, from a level of organization that transcends the microscopic determinism of physics? Philosophy offers competing views. Some argue for compatibilism, the idea that determinism and free will aren't mutually exclusive, that even in a world where laws of nature govern every particle, the complexity of the mind allows for meaningful choice. Others advocate for an indeterminate universe, where true randomness injects an element of freedom into the structure of time. Beyond the question of human agency, we need to consider time's ultimate trajectory. Does time have a final destination, an end? dark energy, it may experience a heat death where entropy reaches its maximum and all processes cease in a cold, empty void. Alternatively, if gravity eventually overcomes expansion, the universe could collapse in a big crunch, reversing the arrow of time itself. Some theories even propose cyclic universes where time resets in an eternal loop, creating an infinite sequence of pasts and futures. And what about time itself? Could it be that time isn't fundamental, but rather an emergent property of a deeper reality? Some physicists speculate that time arises from quantum entanglement or information processing at the most fundamental level of the universe. If this is true, then the past, present, and future may be mere artifacts of human perception, and reality itself may exist beyond our familiar notions of temporal progression. But regardless of the scientific intricacies, the future remains a deeply personal concept. It's the space in which our hopes, fears, and aspirations reside. It's the domain of dreams yet to be fulfilled, of discoveries yet to be made, of civilizations yet to rise. Whether governed by determinism or uncertainty, the future is the one aspect of time we can still shape, whether by action, intention, or discovery. So, where does this leave us? If the past is recorded, the present is fleeting, and the future is uncertain, what's our role in the great unfolding of time? Maybe, despite all scientific advancements, the greatest truth about time isn't found in equations, but in the way we live our lives. Maybe time is best understood not as a problem to be solved, but as an experience to be embraced. So, let's not just contemplate time. We need to use it. Let's not just study the future. Let's shape it. And as we stand on the precipice of what's yet to come, let's move forward with purpose, curiosity, and the understanding